Hello and welcome to the Storytelling for the Soul podcast. I'm your host, Sarah Kanata, and this is the place we talk about all things expressive writing and other creative techniques, all with a little bit of Buffy the Vampire Slayer thrown in. Buckle up and enjoy. Hello and welcome back to another podcast episode. Full disclosure, this is the second time around of trying to record this podcast. I actually recorded it yesterday morning, and when I went to listen back to the audio last night, something happened and my voice was very low. So it sounded like I had distorted my voice or something had gone wrong, which I definitely did not deliberately intend to do. Anyhow, here we are. It's a new day. It's a beautiful, sunny Melbourne day. The weather here, I'm recording this on the 7th of September 2024. The weather here has been wildly unpredictable, lots of wind. If you are based in Melbourne, I hope that you are staying safe and that the last couple of weeks hasn't been too horrendous for you. So as you can probably tell from the title of this episode, today I'm talking about the body being the boss. Now, when I talk about the body, I'm talking about mental health, I'm talking about physical health, I'm talking about spiritual and emotional health. I know that there's a tendency to section off our body, especially in the Western world, because different professionals have different specialties and expertise. But for me, when I say the body, I'm talking holistically. And if you listened to last week's podcast episode, you will have heard that I've been struggling with quite the annoying injury, a pinched nerve in my neck, which is impacting my writing arm. So it's definitely not ideal. It's been quite the dramatic last few weeks. And as I said in last week's episode, I'm a firm believer that everything happens for a reason. And at my age, I am 37 for context. I'm neither young anymore, nor am I mature. And I feel as though this experience has been a wake-up call from the universe, basically telling me that the latter years and how I'm going to spend those is in my hands. And I've really taken it on as a signal to say that a lot of the stuff that you got away with when you were younger is no longer going to fly. And recovery and I guess more the mental health and spiritual side of things is going to have to take a priority moving forward, because at the end of the day, while I love my business, I love my work, I love strength training. I'm a big fan of strength training and being in the gym and moving my body. None of that can happen without my health. So it's been a really interesting period. And the reason that I wanted to talk about this specifically today is because I do want to remind you that this notion of the boss being the body, or you might have heard of the very famous book, The Body Keeps the Score by Dr. Bessel van der Kolk. Most people in the personal development, at least the trauma space, have heard of that. But I'm also an embodied processing practitioner. So what that means is, embodied processing is a body-based approach to working with trauma. So what that means is the focus of the techniques in embodied processing is very much sensations and feeling into the felt sense of the body from the neck down. You can't eliminate the mind. So anyone who says that you can, even in things like meditation, the mind is actually still there. I think it's more a practice of trying to remain aware of the mind and focusing the mind rather than silencing the mind, because that's actually not possible. But what I'm trying to say is that even for someone who's trained in a modality where we are paying homage to the body and we are keeping note of the body, it's a practice for me, because I do lose that in everyday life. And ultimately, what I've noticed over the last few weeks is that I just haven't been able to do the things that I want to do in the capacity and at the level that I have. So yes, the body is the boss. I've had to listen. I've had to stop. I've had to rest when I usually wouldn't, and it's been a learning. And I just want to record this and say, if you're going through something, it doesn't have to be physical pain. And look, I am very well aware that in the grand scheme of things, a pinched nerve is quite minor and that people could be going through a lot worse. I could also be going through a lot worse. So I'm not trying to exaggerate this, but the last few weeks has been different because I just haven't been comfortable, if I'm honest with you. It's also made me realize just how much I take my health for granted. And I think most people do. And it's when something goes wrong that you are forced to listen and stop and consider everything that you're doing. But I want to say that if you are going through something, either with your physical health or you're going through a really crappy experience in life, because let's face it, they happen. The older you are, the longer you are here, the more chances are that you are going to go through something really tough. But I just want to acknowledge you. I want to say, stick in there, hold in there, be patient. Patience is not one of my strong points, which this experience has reiterated, and focus on the things that you can control. And that's certainly what I've been doing. So what can I control? I can't control how quickly my neck and all the rest of it. So for me, it's been sensations all along my arms and at times my hands. I can't control how quickly that heals, but I can control my rest times. I can control not overworking. I can control my nutrition, making sure that I'm moving, making sure that I'm listening to my body and stopping when I'm feeling the pain rather than just pushing through, as so many of us are good at. So I'm going to leave it here. I'll leave you with those parting words. Control what you can, because ultimately that's all we can do in life. For all of the amount of times, and I'm so guilty of this, that we try to control everything, if you look at the most important things, they're actually completely outside of our control. I'll leave it there, and I will speak with you in the next episode.